All right. This is Slow Motion with Bishop Bowser. And we thank all of you that's about to come on, and we're going to give a few minutes, but we're thankful for those that are going to come on and that are on and that is listening to this podcast. But we are also live streaming on Facebook, and then later on this will be shared on our YouTube page. And so today we have a pretty good show for you, because I have in our hearing today, in our view, not just listening, but in our view today is Terence Stewart. And Terence has a powerful testimony and a story, and we most definitely looking forward to him talking with us and sharing with us some of the things that is going on with him and everything. And so right now, what I want to do, hold on here. What I want to do right now is I just want to go ahead and introduce Terence Stewart. Me and Terence, we've known each other for several years now, going way back. I was looking at some of the pictures we took. That was way back in 2017, and we knew each other way before then, and so on. And when I met you, you was involved in Pico, California, but also All of Us Are None, and still involved in All of Us Are None. But you're doing some great things, as the youth participated in gang activity. Also a survivor of gun violence, could be dead right now, but God is good. And also formerly incarcerated, and then, he, and we're gonna hear his story. He went on to college and got his master's degree and doing great things, and so this is awesome and a powerful testimony. The thing I like about Terence is that he never changes. No matter how much God promotes him, whatever happens in his life, good, higher he goes up, he stays the same. Terence is Terence, and educated, very smart, very hard worker and everything, but he still stays the same. And that's the thing, because you can relate and connect with him. And a lot of people, go to prison, been down the path that you've been down, Terence, but then somehow they forget where they come from. And so I thank God that you haven't forgotten where you come from and still staying connected, because that's the only way we can help people. Some become, get out of all that lifestyle and then become elitists, right? And start thinking it better than everybody. But welcome to the show, my brother. How things going?
Man, it's going great, man. Thank you for all the kind words that you said, Brother Bowser, man. You know what I mean? I appreciate you wholeheartedly.
Welcome to the show, my brother. Wait a minute, hold on. Let me get this. Yeah, there you go. I want that echo in there. Go ahead. Sorry about that, man.
It was just echoing. It was just echoing. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I feel great, man. Thank you for the kind introduction, man. It's been an honor to know you. Like I said, you pulled up some pictures, man. When you pulled them up to pick the pictures on you, I forgot I even took them pictures. You know what I mean? But like, it was kind of refreshing to see them, And yes, and I'm still somewhat, like you said, still involved with All of Us Are None, and I'm still involved in that. But I'm still somewhat involved with Pico as well. You know what I mean?
Okay.
With the organization and everything else. So like, I mean, shout out to every organization that helped me with that stepping stone to get to where I'm at in life. Because all of them, they play significant parts in my transformation in this work, in this world, and becoming, my metamorphosis of who I am today. So shout out to all the organizations, even my hood. Because that's another organization that is why it's so significant of who I am today. So thank you.
Absolutely. So man, you have a unique story, man, and being participating in gang activity at a young age and so on, and growing up. Where did you grow up at?
Well, like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I grew up all over the place.
Okay.
My mom had me young. She had me at 15.
Wow.
And because of that, like, we didn't really stay places long.
Uh-huh.
My mom's originally from Pasadena.
Okay.
I lived all over there, Pasadena, Altadena, and but we moved to Pomona, and I represent Pomona. I represent the P-town, but as far as wherever I lived, I have lived everywhere. I didn't live in Pasadena, Altadena, Alhambra, Monrovia, Temple City, Rolling Heights, Los Angeles, Watts, all over the place, man. You know, I really North Long Beach. So I have moved around, like, you know, Greenville, Mississippi, Marion, Louisiana, Clinton, Mississippi. Like, I like to say I'm universal.
Amen.
Universal, you know. But yeah, I did grow up in like dilly dally with the hoods and like Pasadena, Altadena area, and then Pomona, you know, the P-Town.
So what is, you said P-Town, what does that stand for?
Pomona.
Pomona Town.
Yeah.
And so what game did you participate in?
Oh, I'm from Northside Pomona, Ghost Town, Crip, Trey Time Riders, OTL, we all doing well and ain't hard to
Ghost Town Crip?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So growing up, man, how did you get caught up in the gang lifestyle, man?
I mean, I didn't really, I mean, it was a gang, but it wasn't, like, you know, like, these were my friends, you know. I moved around a lot, and because I moved around a lot, I was always fighting because I was always a new kid on the block. And I got in trouble with school all the time, so I was kind of kicked out of school already, like, you know, expelled, kicked out. So like, you know, it all was just friends.
Right.
Like the gang was never considered like a gang. It was just you know,
family.
It was me and the homies, you know what I mean? All of us pretty much was kicked out of school or some kind of other thing. We pretty much none of us really had father figures, you know.
Right.
You know, one of our homies did, and we all went to their house all the time, you know. But other than that, we were just some youngsters that was trying to figure it out our way, you know, and that's just the way it kind of came up. I never really, I mean, yes, yes, we did participate and we did represent, but
right,
we never really considered it like what people consider what a quote unquote gang. It was more so like a family of, like, you know, youth that all came up out the same area, and like it was heavily policed and there was other stuff going on in that community, and because of that we had to grow up a little bit tougher than the average people, and because we had to grow up a little bit tougher, our neighborhood has been recognized as one of them neighborhoods where they grow up rough at, and that's what we participated in, and that's just what the way it was when we came up with. But so how'd I get involved? You know what I mean? I didn't get involved, it just evolved.
So Pomona, what is that, part of Los Angeles County, or what county is it part of?
Yes. You go to, it's Los Angeles. That's like the Pomona Fair is where they have the Los Angeles County Fair. So that's where the Los Angeles County Fairgrounds is. So, like, you know, yes, it's Los Angeles County. People always have issues like, you know, where it's situated. Is it considered the IE? Is it considered San Gabriel Valley? You know, but yes, it is considered San Gabriel Valley, or either Pomona Valley as its own valley. And you know, yes, it's a part of LA County, because we go to LA County Jail. We went to Los Padrinos and Central and Fillmore as juvenile hall facilities. So, like, you know, we went through all the Los Angeles County facilities and stuff. So yes, it's part of Los Angeles County.
And how old were you when you started participating?
Shit, man, in my teenage years, you know, pretty much like most of all of them. Like, you know, like I said, I moved around a lot, so I moved back and forth from here and there, and Louisiana back and forth. Like I said, I went to Louisiana and stuff, but pretty much like it started. I could say like probably like the summer of 8th grade or something.
Got you.
Like start hanging out and start participating in extra activities and stuff, you know.
Yeah, and I know how that is, man. As far as I mean, I can't like you traveled a lot of different places, moved to a lot of different places, and that has to be tough. But I do know, like, you know, when I was younger, and this is before the gang stuff, way back in the early 70s, you know, my mom and my dad had separated. So my mom, at this time, they got back together, but she had moved to Long Beach because I had an auntie that lived up in Long Beach. And so we moved to Long Beach. I was about 10 years old. And man, bro, the new kid, I had to fight all the time. They knock on my door, had to go out in the alley and fight, had to fight getting at school, fighting folks, coming home. Like, it was crazy up there in Long Beach. You know, it was crazy. And you know, the weird thing about it, as far as me, is that, you know, it was the older guys that ended up taking me under their wings versus, those youngsters, because those youngsters, man, they didn't like me because they couldn't whoop me. I was a pretty good fighter, so I would whoop them up, and they'd always come back. But it was the older guys that kind of took me under their wing. So I understand how that moving around, because that was like a crisis for me, moving out and just being thrown into this environment here. And Long Beach at that time was kind of crazy. I was hearing ambulance, all kind of stuff every day. So now I know because you shared this testimony with me a few years ago that I know you've been shot before. You're a survivor of gun violence. Anything you can share with us on that? What happened in regards to where'd you get shot at and what happened? Whatever you could share.
I don't know if you can see it, but my arm.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of.
Yeah, I see it.
My arm, but it shouldn't have happened that way. You know what I mean? I was young and just wrong place, wrong time, wrong everything. And it just like a freak thing happened. And it happened, and when it happened, that it was in like you said, a trap. And yeah, but like regardless, I honestly believe there was something that was meant to happen. Like my arm getting messed up really bad. It gave me a lot of time to sit back and reflect. I went through like 6 surgeries.
Wow.
Like I was like, my arm put me out of commission for like probably about 2 years.
Wow.
A year and a half. So I really got a lot of time to reflect, about a lot of different things, and where I was living at in my life at that moment, and what direction I was headed towards. And so it was a bad thing, but it also was a blessing, at the same time for like who I am today. So like what happened was crazy, and the way it happened, and like all the details is like kind of a blur.
Right.
But I believe like the way it happened and everything, that it was a message from God, man. And it low key probably saved my life, and it's crazy like to talk about it in this manner, but it's something that I feel deep in my heart,
Wow.
So people like, oh, the devil, but like, nah, I don't know. I think you give the devil too much credit,
Right.
Because it was slowly, like at that time when it happened, I didn't think it was a blessing. But like now that I look at everything and see that, like, I believe it was a blessing, that and it is a blessing because like this happened. This happened point blank range with a 12-gauge shotgun, So like the fact that I have an arm, the fact that like, it didn't hit me nowhere else. Like I still have a face, I still have an arm, I still have a legs, I still have everything, like anything can happen. And cause I know a lot of people that things worse can happen to them in different situations. So like, I'm just thankful that like, I still have a limb. I had to make a choice when I was in the hospital if did they want to cut my arm off.
Wow.
Or not. They told me I'd never use it again, but like,
there you go.
You know what I mean? Like, so like, so like all in all, it just had to been God. Like, I don't know, man, like on any other thing, like, you kind of, they make it seem like they want you to give it up for God and stuff, but I know this is a place where I can, and and I am, so like, I just feel like, God blessed me with another opportunity with life and everything else, and like gave me a vicious warning that like I could never forget, it didn't happen right then, but it was the start of putting me in a pipeline towards putting him in the driver's seat, and not so much me trying to fight God, like, and that's what like I wrote today on my Facebook post was that, like, yesterday I wrote that I thought I had hands until I got hands put on me, and I'm talking about them holy hands, because I thought I could fight God, and like that's a fight you're not going to win. So I learned that through this, you know, and like I'm just glad, like, you know, I have a scar to remind me, but I still have life and an opportunity to give back and do exactly what God wanted me to do, you know. So
man. Amen. And I know you understand. You know, as far as the trauma, did you at the time understand the trauma that you was dealing with the gun
like,
charge? Go ahead.
I mean, I did, but I mean, shit, man, like that whole time was like a blur. Like it was trauma, but at the same time, shit, man. Like I said, I like for like almost a whole year, like I got like my arm. I couldn't pick up a wash rag. I couldn't like I couldn't do nothing for a long time.
Wow.
Like I'm right hand dominant. Like when I lost my right hand, I could barely even feed myself with my left hand. Like, you know, like now I can do all types of stuff with my left hand, but at the beginning, it wasn't like that. Like, you know, I had to teach myself how to write again. I had to teach myself how to do everything from.
What grade were you in? Were you still in school? High school?
Well, nah, I was not in high school. I was more like, I was in my 20s, early 20s.
Oh, okay.
You know, so yeah, I was out of state.
Mm-hmm. And, what state were you
in? Mississippi.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. And by this time, so I know you formerly incarcerated. When was the first time you got locked up?
Oh well, like, you know, as a juvenile hall. I mean, I went to juvenile hall, and I did camp programs and stuff. I mean, I almost went to the Y off of being refouled on in camp, but like, well, this is what saved me. Like, it's God that, again, you know, I mean, I can't do nothing to say nothing more. Like, it was nothing. It wasn't Terence Stewart, you know.
Right.
It was God. Like. So when I was in juvenile hall, like a camp program, like I wrote an essay and came in 3rd place in 17 school districts while I was locked up.
Okay. And
because of that, like I ended up going on college tours once a month.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to Cal Poly Pomona and go to college tours, and they would take us around the schools and all this stuff. And one day, I seen somebody I knew from like the streets, like when I was going through a juvenile that program,
right?
Like the college tour, and like I knew him, and I'm like, man, they ain't all that smart, you know what I mean? Like they just like me, you know. And that was like the first time I ever really considered college, you know, just seeing somebody that I knew being incarcerated as a youth. Walking through a college campus, you know, and I was like, man, I know them. Like, you know, they're not like they're not genius, you know, because at a certain point in time, like, you know, I thought like people that went to college were geniuses, you know, and you know, but like once I realized it, like an everyday person that lives in my community,
right,
can go to college, like that's it awakened something in me. I mean, but like I said, like I think the same thing with the whole college, the whole essay writing contest. I think like it was all part of the plan. You know, same thing with my arm. Like everything was set up for like me to be in this predicament that I'm in today. Like, you know, so like, you know, yeah, my first time, like, you know, I went in for sales to undercover. You know, and like, you know, went to a camp. It was soliciting the sales. It wasn't direct sales. It was soliciting the sales. You know, to undercover. I had a bunch of other little tickets and stuff. I was going to the halls and stuff off and on the whole time. Sorry, my dog barking. Sorry.
That's okay.
So like, you know, like it just like all that stuff piled up, and they end up. I ended up being incarcerated as a youth. But like that was one of the things that that transpired in that whole little camp program, was that it planted a seed in my head for me to go to college, you know, and you know, like it was crazy because I was kicked out of every school I ever went to and stuff. So like, you know, the whole notion of college was like, it was a weird feeling. Like I wanted to go to college, but I didn't feel like I was good enough.
How old were you when you made up your mind to go to college? When you start going to college?
Oh, well, the first time, well, like the first time I went to college, I was out of state. You know, it's when my arm got messed up. I was in college. I went to college from the trap, man. You know, everybody know it. Like, you come to my spot, like, you know, I'll be doing work in the trap. You know,
right.
Everybody knew it, and I did it, and I was popular at school and all that stuff when I but man, my arm got messed up, so it took me out of school for a while. And then the second time I tried to go to college, when I came back, and that's when I went to jail. I was so the first time I tried to go to college is my arm got messed up. The second time I tried to go to college, I ended up doing my prison time. So when I was in there,
What'd you go to prison for?
Sales, you know, and like so the second time I went in my prison term, and like, you know, like, so when I was in prison this time, I'm like, you know, like the time that I was going to do, I could have had a degree and all this other stuff, but like I felt like it was too I already had 2 strikes with college, so I was going to give it one more shot.
Gotcha.
You know, and if it wasn't going to work out for me, you know, I was going to leave it alone. But you know, so like my plan was when I did my little time in prison, that
how much time you do?
I did 2 years. I was sentenced to 4 years with half time.
Okay.
You know, so like, yeah, I did 2 years, and when I came home, I just said like I could have had an associate's, and like, you know, like I tried to go to college twice. You know what I mean? I've been kicked out of every school, so I just said like I'm gonna try it one more time, and it was like amazing because I paroled to my auntie house, and she lived walking distance to Compton College. You know, and,
at this time, how old were you?
I was about 20. I was about 27, 26, 27 when I got home, you know, and like the college was right there by my house. I'm like, for real. And you know, like I just went up there one day because I did get my high school diploma. Like, I graduated from an adult school, you know, on time and everything. Out of school, all the school I got kicked out of, I graduated on time. And
that's good.
You know, so like I just you know, I had a high school diploma, so like, you know, it was just so when I got out, like, you know, I just tried, you know. I already had talked to people, I already had a plan. Like, I talked to this one dude when I first got locked up, and it's crazy, but I was in reception with him, and he was clowning. He was like, "Oh yeah, you know, you up in there, you gotta be tough and stuff." But like, you know, like he asked me one day, he was like, "Man, what do you really want to do?" And I'm like, "Man, I want to go to college, bro." And he couldn't believe that answer. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, like it was like amazing.
What I want to do.
Out of all things, like, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to go to college, you know, and like, so like what he would do is make me, like at the time, you know, because he was older, I was new, I didn't know what the hell, you know, and he would have me read for like an hour. We have a quiet time, and then like we'll talk about it, and like, you know, he would exercise my critical thinking. You know what I mean? He would, man, like, you know, what did you think about that article? If you had this, what would you say? Like, you know, what else would you say? You know, and he was just like really engaging me in exercises to exercise critical thinking, you know.
There you go.
And you know, like, and he talked to me about it. He's like, man, when you go to college, like, you know, when you get out, go to college, you know, but like, just don't go to college, like, do some extracurricular type shit. This is what he was telling me, you know, like, I didn't even know about extracurricular stuff at college yet, you know. He was like, man, join a medical club. He's like, don't join no party club, join the medical club, like, you know, like, do some stuff, get some money from Red Cross or something. This is what he was telling me, you know. And like, you know, so like, it was already kind of like I said, just like how I said the seed was already planted with the school. Me going through the juvenile program, like another seed was planted about the me going to college and participating in clubs and organizations, you know. But I was thinking like Red Cross Club, you know, and so like, you know, when I was in there, you know, I did a bunch of reading and did this all the other stuff, you know, but still, you know, I tried to you know, keep it cool, keep it solid, you know, and you know, stay reading, like mind, body, and spirit, you know, that's what I worked on. And when I came home, you know, it was like perfect that the school was right down the street, you know, everything was like lined up perfectly. Like I went up to the college, you know, other people was enrolling. This school just opened back up. It had lost its accreditation.
Oh, wow.
like, everything was like it was like you said with God, when God say 12 o'clock, don't get afraid at 11:59, because God is always on time.
Thank you.
That's what happened. It just everything lined up. And so I went 2 weeks before school started. I went up to the thing. I enrolled. I had classes in 2 weeks. So I went up there.
How long did it take for you to get your BA degree?
My bachelor's probably altogether maybe about 5-6 years.
And what about your master's?
2.
And I know like the video that I seen you on, what was that? Was that your master's or your bachelor's degree?
Oh yeah, that's my the video that you see, that's my master's, because you'll see I have my master sash on. And like you could tell, like with the master graduation suit, like the flare on your arms go like this and it goes up like this. The regular one goes straight like this, but like the masters go up like this and like that.
Okay.
So it's a different.
Let me share it. I want to share the video with everyone because Terrance is can you hear me, Terrance?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. So Terrance is, he graduated and got his master's degree, and he was doing. You could tell us what you were doing when I shared this video here. Let me share this video. Hold on, let me get it, maximize it a little bit. There you go. So this is you graduating, huh? But you're not on there yet, right?
No, I'm not there yet. There was the alphas right there. They're the alpha males. You know what I mean? Yeah, like there's a bunch of different groups. They all get their little steps. Everybody was doing their steps. See, that's the alpha steps. They over here doing they stepping, and different people, individuals and everything else.
I'm gonna show you guys Terrance when he comes through, because he's doing his little crip thing. Graduated with his master's. There he is, right there. Happy as a lark.
Yeah, you can hear the crowd. The people out there in the crowd, them ain't even my folks.
All right. Yeah.
You see that massive you see, look, everybody else. You see nobody else got that thing hanging out the back of them. You see, I'm the only person getting the mask.
Go ahead, Terrance. What you say?
You see everybody else, when you see them, you see me, right? You see that hood on me?
Right.
That hood. You see nobody else got it.
Okay, that's your master's.
That's my master's. That means I was graduating with my master's. Everybody else is getting their bachelor's. So like, I was one of the highest graduating people right then at that time. Yeah.
And
so
in your own, look like you was in the zone in your own world. What were you thinking at that time, man?
Man, like I can't. It's almost can't believe it. Like for me, this I represent for people that've been told that they weren't going to amount to nothing. Like the whole time I was in college, I had battled with like, did I belong there? Did I not belong there? Do I belong in the hood? Do I belong here? All this stuff.
Right.
So like, just like, to go there and like, I don't know if you know, but you probably do know, but like at this same college right here, I have an award named after me. So like at this point in time, this graduation right here, the award already been named after me for 2 years. So like, I was going to my graduation in which I was graduating with my master's, but I still was passing out an award that year. So like, the significance of who I was, man, like as far like you said, like with the background that I came from, and like, my master was in higher education policy and administration. So what I do is I study college. I study especially African American males, because like we are on the lowest part of the totem pole when it comes down to higher education.
That's
like
right.
Everybody does better than us. So like the being and who I am, is like, it's like way beyond 1 in a million. It's like the statistics of like being formerly incarcerated and making it to college is like crazy. But like to make it to college from a community college, go to a 4-year institute, then end up getting my master's degree, getting an award named after me, being the president of the year, student organization of the year, humanitarian of the year, and all these other different awards. You know, I got awards from college. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Like all kinds of stuff. I was a super advocate when I was up in there. So like, you know, like at that moment, you know, like it was just like I didn't believe it was real. I thought I was like in some type of dream or something, and like, somebody please wake me up, you know, because like this can't be happening to a brother like me. Like, you know, I got an award named after me, and it was other people who went to college that never got in trouble, that never did everything right, you know, that didn't get no award named after them, you know, people, you know, like I went from remedial classes, like independent studies.
And that's an example that anybody can, if you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you want to do. And you got a message for the youngsters.
Package work, continuation schools, like all of that, you know what I mean? Like to be graduate top of my class, you know, like it was like so unbelievable, like, but what really it was making my mama proud, you know, like growing up, like, you know, when you participate in them type of activities, you know, you put your mom through a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I done seen my mom cry plenty of times because of like the way I was, and like me being a parent now, just I can't imagine how much of a failed parent that I probably have made my mom feel growing up as a kid.
All that's running in your mind, man. And let me just play a little bit more of this, because when I saw you, let me take it back a little bit. When I saw you doing your little crib dance and coming on in, it looked like you was in your own world, but celebrating, and it just wondered like what was going on in Terrence's mind at this time. And
it was, you know, like,
look at it. Terrence like, yeah, that's right.
I did, man, and I went all the way around. I went all the way around, like, you know, even if like you could see when they accepted me, when they gave me my award, and they said my name, I did it on the stage. You know what I mean? And at the big graduation, the real, because it's the Black graduation. It's another graduation that was amongst other people, which was a graduation that changed my life too. And like it was so sentimental because I counted 7 Black people graduating with the like grad school degree, like either a master's or a doctorate. I counted 7 of us, and like only 3 of us had like what they ADOS like last names, you know, like you know, everybody else was like from like other countries or something, you know, and it was hundreds of people that graduated, and like only 7 Black people graduated, and like, you know, like, you know, that tore me up, you know, because they talked about how we were going to be the future and the next leaders in the world and all this other stuff, you know, and it was 7 Black people I counted, you know, and you know, I'm one of them, you know, like so like, you know, in the real graduation amongst the whole people, I walked to the middle of the stage, and I gave up the Black Power fist.
There you go. Now, and that's, you know, and that's the, so you got a degree in education, right?
Yes.
And so like that's one of the things I want to talk about here, as far as, you know, with Black History, you know, Black History Month. I know I saw you post something on Instagram, you know, about Malcolm X. Yesterday was 56 years, you know, that was the day that he got assassinated on the 21st.
Right.
Yeah, and I think 1965 on February 21st. Absolutely. And you know, we know that there was a police officer wrote a letter, but he didn't want it read until he died, in regards to that the police and everyone else helped. You know, the FBI and all of them participated in making sure that Malcolm X got assassinated. But I know, like you, and I saw you post something in regards to, you know, your connection. You and you want to share a little bit more about that, as far as you feel your connection as far as with Malcolm X and what you experienced and what you've gone through.
Man, I wish you could see that top shelf of that bookshelf up there and you see all these different Malcolm X books I got up here. You know what I mean? But like, nah, like Malcolm X, like as far as like, it was two different levels of how Malcolm X kind of like was profound in my life, you know? I don't know. His first movie with Denzel Washington came out when I was in elementary as well, you know? And it came out the day before my birthday.
Oh, okay.
And it was this one people that used to care about me. They like, you know, like we went through some stuff. My uncle got murdered when I was young, and you know, like it was a whole issue. Our family was on front of the cover of the newspaper and all types of stuff, you know. And you know, like this lady, they used to try to help our family and stuff. So like for my birthday, they asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday. So I told them I wanted to take my friends to go see Malcolm X. You know, so like, you know, like. This was like the first profound thing in my life because like, you know, most kids at this age, they wanted to see like stuff like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. You know, it was like, this was like, you know, like an adult movie that was like 3 hours, 2 hours and some change long. And we were kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like, you know, it sparked something even when I was young, you know what I mean? Just being so close to my birthday and, you know, and like for me, like, I always wanted to be a leader. Like it's crazy. I didn't realize this to this degree till I got older. But like the three things I ever wanted to be in life was one was like I wanted to be the first Black president when I was young. You know, that was one of the things I wanted to be. Another thing I wanted to be was like a drill sergeant. I thought like, you know, I seen movies of drill sergeant people and call them drills and like tough and you know say it with your chest type stuff. You know, like I thought like, you know, I wanted to do like. Be like a leader still. That still was like a leader position, you know what I mean? Like and the other thing was like to be a psychiatrist, you know. So like, you know, I kind of like felt like, you know, watching him in that movie, you know, like I was already kind of started to get in trouble already. I already been kicked out of school, like suspended and all kinds of stuff. So like that dream of like being like president and all this stuff was starting to fade, but. Like, you know, seeing that movie, it was like another level of Black male leadership,
right?
You know, that I admired as a kid. You know, like so that was like the start of it. You know, and you know, the second time I was sent, I read like my homie Black Cap from Schoolyard. He gave me that book when I was up in there, and you know, what I mean, he was on my comment too, like on that thing, you know, and. And like, you know, like we would talk about it all the time, and like, you know, I would read it chapter by chapter, and we'll go talk and like, you know, have discussions and stuff. But like it gave me hope again that like, you know, you know, he was a formerly incarcerated person that came out still with this leadership, you know. So like it gave me life that like, you know, that like just because like, you know, you gonna hear like you went to jail and stuff, that doesn't mean your life was going to be over.
That's right.
Like, you still have an opportunity.
That's right.
Leadership, you know, and I was really, really inspired, you know, and so like you know, that was a lot of it. But then like, you know, also like you said, getting out, you know, some of the lessons that like, you know, that he talked about in the book and the movie, like also was that like, you know, he defined white, you know, and Black, you know, and like the same thing with me, like one of the coldest lessons that kind of woke me up was the same lesson that he gave, like defining the word white, defining the word Black, and like the simple fact that like Black has so many negative connotations to it, you know what I mean? And like, you know, like the only thing positive is like, and it ain't even all the way positive. They say, oh, people of African descent, or you know what I mean, Black people, you know what I mean? Like they have that definition, but like that, and then it'll go like, you know, definition 3, and then definition 4 would be dirty, soiled, and like, you know what I mean, all this other stuff, evil, wicked, as far as like Black magic and all this other stuff. So like all these negative things that was connected to the word Black, and then like, you know, they didn't even make it a different word, Black, by calling us Black people. They left it under that same definition. So like, you know, like that was like the first thing, like looking at like even language and stuff. So like another lesson that I learned, like, you know, that I took to heart was that like, and this was something that you know, we have to do, is that not just Black was messed up. So I defined brown, and they define brown as not even as a color. You know what I mean? It's a hue between red and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like that's the same thing they say about brown people, is that they didn't exist, and like they were huge, they were crossed between Indians and Asian. You know what I mean? So like, bam, like even the colors is like suggesting this, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yellow, they define it as timid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like timid, like if you yellow, like you're scary. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
this is another like connotation
Got
about
you.
color. You know, red was like operating in a loss,
Mm-hmm.
anger. You know what I mean? Like all this stuff that was associated with the word red. You know what I mean? They were calling these people savages. Like, so like every color that defined a population of people but white was something wrong with. And like,
Absolutely.
you know, that's like taking his lesson and taking it a step further, because like I think that's what we have to do. I think like there's a lot of lessons that Malcolm X gave, but like, you know what I mean, it's on us to take it another step forward.
And what do you think that when you say taking another step forward, what would that step be that we're not taking,
like,
we need to take?
My example was like defining other colors besides just black and white.
Got you.
You know what I mean? That was my first like thing. You know, it's like
when you went to Mecca and had
his
experience.
Yeah, listen to his speech and applying it to today, you know, because like back then it was more of a black and white TV type of world.
Right.
But now we're living in this high definition colored world.
Right.
You know, and like, you know what I mean? And that's what we have to do, even with his messages, is like apply it to this new highly definition world. You know what I mean? And like, you know, be able to you know, interpret it, like change it, you know what I mean, into this world that we're living in today. Because like, yes, some things were black and white, but like black and white still colors that still exist in all these extreme colors that we live today. And like some of the things are still black and white, but then it's also other colors that's included. So that's why it's important, like I said, to define just more than just black and white, and start to look at all the colors that's a part of this thing called race, you know. And yeah, like, you know, so like that was like one of the lessons that really resonate to me. And it's a lot of other ones that like that probably ain't just coming straight to my head right now, but
right.
Like right now, just talking about it, like, you know, that always was like a lesson that I did, right. And then also, like, you know, like Malcolm X was really into the dictionary, you know, and that's the same thing with me, like even reading his dictionary. And that's why I was saying, like, you know, finding all these other words, you know what I mean? Because like that's how I had to read his book when I was with a dictionary, because some of the words I didn't understand, you know. And like understanding like that, like, you know, words have power, you know.
Right.
And like, you know, even like watching what I'm calling myself, like I said, even studying these words and like realizing what I'm calling myself, and then realizing what I'm calling other people, and realizing, like, you know, how all these other different structures. So being mindful of a lot of different things, you know. And like before, like, you know, it was right there in my face, but I wasn't even able to see it. And like wasn't nobody that like at that point in time that I was admiring as Black male leadership as Malcolm X. So like, you know, like as far as that, it's still to this day, like, you know, I feel as if, like, you know, his prophetic fire is burning in me. And that's what I was talking about before. Like, you know, like you could pass the torch, like a fire could last a long time, you know, if we continue to pass that torch, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, like it don't have to go out, you know what I mean? We could keep this fire burning. And I feel like his fire is burning through me and so many other people, you know?
Amen. So yeah, and I want to get to that, but I want to talk to some of the folks on Facebook. Hopefully we'll know if you are viewing, just let us know that you're viewing, make a comment or something so that we can see that you're here. I know I see my cousin Shirley Freeman. I hope you're still on. I don't know if you're still on or not. I think earlier I saw Tony Cooper and Anita Banks. So if you're on, let us know, and you have a question or what have you. Thank you, Shirley. Shirley said, amazing testimony 100 going on 11 p.m. Bishop. Good night. Okay, yeah, because she back east in Virginia, and that's my cousin. And so yeah, so thanks for coming in and viewing, Shirley, and really appreciate it in the name of the Lord on that. And so, you know, here's my thing, man, that I want to talk to you about or bring up. And if you have any comments in regards to it, is, you know, when I look at like Malcolm X, um, Martin Luther King, even when you go back to slavery and you look at all the different racial justice movements, right? Thank you, Tony. Tony said another great interview. Thank you, Tony. When you look at people like Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Nat Turner, Sojourner Truth, you know, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and I'm sure there's many more. And you've done a study on Black studies and things, ethnic studies, so you probably have a little bit more knowledge than I do as far as after that, right? But one of the things I want to bring up, these were powerful people, right? And had an impact in the sense of the oppression that our people were facing. But the common denominator that I saw with all of them is that on the spiritual side, where they had God, right, involved in the movement, involved in what they were doing. You know, they you know, because when you look at Malcolm X, they say he was a minister, right? And so on. And so that's what it was about. Martin Luther King, Reverend, you know, Sojourner Truth. That's what she was all about, going preaching the truth to people, you know. Nat Turner, of course, she took it to a whole nother level, right? But he was a preacher, right? Frederick Douglass, he believed, but he just had a problem with America's Christianity, you know. But I kind of look at movements today, and even when you kind of look at the Black Panthers, you know, what I understand and know about them, I know a lot of those guys some of those guys who in San Diego is part of the Black Panthers, and a lot of them, they believe in God and things like that, and some are pastors and things, so I know that now. But when you look at the movement and movements today, it just seemed like for the most part, God is being left out, you know, and I think that if we're going to be successful, like you said, taking it to the next level of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and so on, we most definitely have to have God involved, have to be led by God, right, to do this, and God be in the forefront of helping us to make a difference. And I just don't see that. And before you said, Anita Banks, thank you. She said, I'm still here. Really heard a lot of positive vibes for you, even bringing in history. Amen. Thank you. And so when you talk about having God involved, right, that spiritual aspect of it, when you talk about a movement, and what I see today, I don't see a lot of that. And then when God is brought in, a lot of times people shun it or dismiss it to a large degree. And, you know, we're part of Faith Base, you know, PICO. I'm still part of SDOP, which is part of Faith in Action in Pico, California, and things like that. And other groups that I'm a part of, as far as dealing with criminal justice reform, a lot of them, you know, are very religious and so on. But I'm talking about some of the grassroots movements you see in the community, see in our streets, and what we see on national TV. It's almost like God is left out of the picture for the most part. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, like, you know, that's why I kind of mentioned that earlier today. You can see my dog on the back.
Yeah, don't worry about that, man. Hey, that's the way it is these days, virtual, you know. Go ahead, though.
But I don't know, like for me, you know, if you listen to me today, I give it up for God. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I'm not too ashamed of it. You know what I mean? I'm thankful for him. You know what I mean? So like that, but like to your point, like, yeah, a lot of people, like back in the days, I mean, what happened was, like, the church back in the days was our only political venue. It used to be more so like, you know, like that's where all Black people talked about politics and everything else, because we didn't have the same representation that we have now. Like we couldn't be governor or whatever, you know what I mean? Like the church became our place for politics, you know what I mean? Like we didn't have a lot of, like, we had completely Black communities back then, you know what I mean? Like they had red lines and all this other stuff set up for the ghetto to be the ghetto, you know what I mean? So, like, of course, like, you know, like with that structure at play, it created a place for the Black church to be way more political, way more all this other stuff because we didn't have politics, you know. Same thing with poetry, like, you know what I mean? It's like back then, like our politicians were poets, you know, preachers, you know, like these were our representation, our ambassadors of our community,
right,
at this point in time, you know, because we didn't have all the freedom, well, the quote unquote freedoms that we have today, you know. Like, you know, I believe like that happened. It's just like a simple fact of like now that people can move about the ghetto, like ain't nobody trying to fix up the hood no more. They're all trying to move out and integrate into these other nice communities.
That's what Malcolm X talked about, right? And Ballad of the Bullet.
Yeah,
that was one thing he talked about. He said, we you know, we complain about neighbor, but we don't want to it. We done abandon everything. We're taking money and putting it everywhere else.
But and see, like, and that's the type of thing, and that's the same thing with the church, like, you know, and then like to we're like,
good point.
You know, some of these pastors, well, I you know what, I can't say it's more now than it was then. It probably was the same thing back then. You know what I mean? Like some of these pastors is selling the people out. You know, like they're taking pictures with people who are opposition and all this stuff for funding and all this other stuff. So like, you know, I think it's many different reasons why it switched, you know. And to your point, like, you know, back in the day, like Martin Luther King, his father was a pastor too. You know what I mean?
But it was going on back then though, because, you know, just to interject, because if you listen to Malcolm X and what he said about Martin Luther King and some of the others, about them taking money and some of the things they were talking about doing in the protests and going to DC, they didn't do because white folks stepped in and started funding them but dictated what they was going to do, what kind of science they would bring in, and so much more, right? All of that. So yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
so they were tripping back then too.
No, that's what I said. Like I'm pretty sure they were. You know, I didn't heard places where where pastors didn't even want Dr. King coming in their state.
See, exactly, man. So we have the same stuff, man. Let me read before you go further. I want to make sure Curtis Howard, he's our chapter chair here of All of Us Enough for San Diego, and Curtis Terrance. Do you know Curtis? Terrance is also part of All of Us or None, a big supporter of All of Us or None, and part of it. But Curtis said, after I was released from incarceration, I was asked about school, but I felt it would not benefit me at my age. I had too many other challenges to overcome, such as housing, employment, etc. I commend you on your education and focus to higher learning. My question is, how do you plan to use your master's degree in moving forward? Great story, bro.
Well, like, you know, I'm still trying to figure it out. Right now, I'm a statewide director with Time Done, and like, you know, it kind of came out weird because I was going through my master's degree at the same time I was working as an organizer with ICUC Pico. So like, you know, what happened was, well, while I was going to school to learn about higher education, I was also working. So like, as soon as I finished my degree, I stepped into a full-time position there, and I continued to work, and I just never really went back into the higher educational field. So like, you know, I use a lot of the studies that I've learned in college to this work that I'm doing now, and trying to help other people like that like they, you know, that may want to go to college, because I do understand that college is not for everybody. But like the people who it is for, you know, I try to make it available for them, you know, and like just teach them, you know, like different ways to matriculate or to maneuver the college system, you know. So how do I plan to use it? Like, you know, anytime I could give anybody information that I could, but like I used to want to like be like over student life, and like it's exciting now because like it's way more formally incarcerated groups on college campuses now. So like, you know, they have underground scholars at the UC system. They have Project Rebound at the Cal State level, and then like it's different levels of different groups when it comes down to community college, like San Diego, San Bernardino got a All of Us or None chapter. Riverside got a Transition in Mind chapter. Shaphat got a thing called Pinto. Compton College got a thing called FIST, which stands for Formerly Incarcerated Student Transition. And I wish that, if I could have provided the opportunity, one of these type of programs to help out people, with past convictions, go to college and find their way through the system of the college system,
That's good.
So that's some of the things that I would have liked to do, and
you're doing a great work too, with a lot of things.
It's still I'm never disattached from the school stuff. Like I said, I got an award named after me and all this other stuff. So I'm very much still engaged on college campuses and working with people working with youth to talk to them about college, and even places like continuation schools, because they're not given A through G requirements. So it's no pipeline for them to go to college. Their pipeline more is a school to prison pipeline, or a school to fast food worker, or a school to warehouse worker type of pipeline. So it's also using the stuff that I know to put in a pipeline towards a college career, or a school where they want to get some trades where they can help themselves.
Yeah, and thank you. And Willard Richard Stroud, thank you for being on, brother. He said wonderful message and conversation to teach and show the value of hard work and dedication to be better. And so one of the things I know, when you were talking about your some of the work that you're doing, I for sure wanted to let me see if I can pull this up on my Safari here and share my page here, because I wanted to take you to this is some of the work that Terrance is doing with Time Done.
I'm the statewide director for California Safety and Justice Time Done Project. So what Time Done is about redemption. It's about rehabilitation. It's about giving people opportunity to reach their full potential.
Time Done will change my life for the simple fact that I will be able to work anywhere and go for any career I would like in my life.
This Time Done statewide campaign is an effort to kind of educate people, to say these are human beings who take responsibility for what they've done. They serve their time, period.
It's so many different barriers that we have to face as people once we're convicted.
I applied for 6 assignments, and all 6 of them didn't come back because of my record.
My goal is to be an average member of society without being judged based on my criminal history and my felonies.
I really want to open up my own production company to allow average teens and kids from South Central to just have a different outlook in life and to just be in the production world of myself. I believe that my felonies and my background and the things that I've been through in life will hold me back.
If I didn't have a criminal history, what I would be doing, I'd probably be applying everywhere that I can. I love working, but there's a lot of places that I cannot apply for because due to my criminal history.
There are always these things that come up, and we try to navigate them here because we bring them into our 18-month training program, and then we try to find employers who have an open, tender heart, who can say, look beyond this. This is a good worker. You won't be disappointed.
It's to change the narrative of people living with past convictions. That we are people. We're not ex-convicts. We're not ex-felons. We're people living with past convictions that's trying to thrive in life and try to take care of our families and stuff.
I feel that with Time Done, it will give me the motivation and the encouragement that I need to be able to pursue my careers.
That'll be wonderful because at this moment I feel like I have a chain side of my foot.
Oh, that would change my perspective on everything completely, only because due to the fact that I know I'll be able to go anywhere and not get rejected because of my criminal history.
I put my own barrier within myself when not pushing for it because I'm thinking about my criminal record. So with this law being passed and everything being wiped away, it's all gas for me. It's a freeway and it ain't no stopping for me. Period.
Homeboy supports this effort completely of Time Done, because it's completely aligned with who we are as an organization and what we want to announce to the world, that human beings, all human beings, deserve a second chance to kind of rebuild, and everybody's a whole lot more than the worst things they've ever done.
So yeah, really appreciate that, and that's some great work. That tell us a little bit about Time Done.
So Time Done is an educational campaign. It does three things. You know, our overarching goal is to educate people on past eviction. How like once you have a criminal record, this thing it makes life hard for you on so many different levels, and it's to highlight that. It's also to build the political power, like the political muscle, to change policy. You know what I mean? So like, you know, so it's building a movement and changing policy. So like, you know, so it's like for me, on many different levels, it's also like leadership development, because we're working with people who are directly impacted, who've been through stuff in their lives, and we're putting them in a leadership position to make a difference in their community. So like, that's a lot of what Time does do, because it's like, it's over 8 million people living with past evictions in California, you know. And like, the thing about that, like, you got to realize how large 8 million people is.
Yeah.
If 8 million people was one state by itself, it would be the 13th largest state in America.
Wow.
So California right now, like you know what I mean, it's 8 million people living with past evictions in California, and like we face over 4,800 barriers in California, right? So like,
so let me ask you something in regards to that, because I want to throw up something else here that this here. What was this about? And that's part of was this a part of Time Done, or just your personal experience of what you're going through when it says give me shelter, how crime-free housing rules prevented a family from renting? You want to share a little bit with us about that?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing I'm talking about. Like, once you go to prison and you have a record, you know, housing becomes one of the most hardest things that you have to go deal with. You know, like being accepted into housing was, once you have a record, like, you know, most housing, like as far as apartments and stuff, like, you know, they have policies that exclude you. And like the thing about it is, like, through housing rules, it's like 8 protected groups that are protected from discrimination. So like, they can't discriminate on you because of race, they can't discriminate on you because of gender, they can't discriminate on you because of your religion, they can't discriminate on you because of your ability, you know what I mean, whether you're disabled or not. So it's things like that they cannot discriminate on you, your sexuality, and but having a past eviction, they can't.
Wow. Look at that.
You know what I mean? You're not a part of a protected group. You're not a part of a protected group. So technically, they're not discriminating on you, because they have the right to tell you no.
Right.
You know, so like, what happens is it makes it hard for so many people. You know, so like, there was an article that highlighted another collateral consequence of criminal conviction. You know, like I said, was 4,800 barriers that we face, and housing is just one. You know, and like, the significance of it is that 73% of the things that are barriers in our life are lifetime bans. So like, once you go to jail, 73% of the bans that you will face are lifetime bans, and 56% of the bans are work related. So like, you know what I mean? So that's more than every other job. You know what I mean? So like, you know, these are just part of the exclusions. Was this part of Time Done? It is part of Time Done, because I have done my time, and I'm fighting to you know what I mean, to be a regular citizen in society. And since we're talking about you know, like Malcolm X talked about this second-class citizenship. You know what I mean? And like, that's exactly what it is. It ain't even a form of citizenship in so many levels. You ain't even a second-class citizen. You just don't have no citizenship no more, you know? So like, you know, it's just highlighting a lot of the different, this one right here just highlighting some of the issues that people have with housing, and me particularly. Like, you know, that hair commercial to say, I'm not just the president, I'm also a client. It's the same thing saying right here, is that, like, you know, I'm not just the statewide director of this. I'm also still a person who suffers from these collateral consequences of criminal conviction, even though I have an award named after me.
Right.
I have a master's degree. I have all kinds of different stuff. I'm a father. I've been a father in my children's life, their whole life, all this stuff. But still, none of that matters. You know what I mean? Because of policy
Yeah. And you know, and yeah, we almost going to close out here and give you some final thoughts. But one of the things, you know, when we talk about racial justice, criminal justice system, and racial justice, we know for sure that from slavery on, you know, when you're dealing with Prop 13, Prop 14, and all of that, most of it, you know, the laws and things that they make up today is to continue to hold us in a servitude, right, and in slavery and oppression, and the primary focus is Black folks. And so, you know, with the no discriminate, you know, I really like the way you broke that down, because when you talk about, hey, you can't discriminate against me for my race, right? So now what they do is they criminalize us, a race, and then they make laws on those crimes, right? And so, you know, if you go to jail for this or that or whatever, you got a felony, okay, you can't get housing, you can't get certain jobs, certain license, certain certificates, you can't, your education might be held up a little bit. Employment, can't get certain jobs, all these different restrictions that come up against you because of your criminal past. And when you look in America, 40% of the prison population are Black people, right? California is overrepresented in the prison population for Black folks. I believe it's like up in the 20s, when we only make about 6% of the population or something like that in the whole state of California. And so we're disproportionately represented here and in the nation. When you look at compare Black men with all, they did a study, how do I say, my tongue is getting tired. They did a comparison between Black men and women, right? And all women, all races, Black, white, and so on. There's more Black men in prison in America than there are women in prison, not only in America but around the world, right? And we know that, like, when you look at how we're treated when it comes to jobs, when it comes to the financial institution and trying the economic system, where you're trying to get loan, get out, buy a home, get a car, whatever, for the most part, they really try to hold it against you because of your past and your criminal record, that they try to say, you know, which we believe anybody, once you've done your time, and so on, you know, you should be able to move on. And so that is for sure. Our community is being criminalized and oppressed through the criminal justice system, and the police are on the first lines of offense for that, to really over police our communities so they can get us in jail. And now what they're doing, man, they, you know, because of the prison reform, they're not sending you to prison. What they'll do is they'll say, hey, we'll just charge you with a felony right now, and we'll let you go. You can go home. And a person plead to that felony, but then they don't realize all the roadblocks that they're going to face because of that felony. Now, I know there's some work that you guys are doing right now with Time Done, I believe also, and I know Gertz might be on, and All of Us Are None. Want to share that with us?
Like, it depends. I mean, if we're talking about what All of Us Are None and us, like, it's the major things that we're going to push this year. Yeah. So, like, one of the things is we're trying to take the involuntary servitude off the California Constitution.
Right.
You know what I mean? That and that's what makes slavery alive in California, because, you know, once they the way that they shifted it from slavery to prison was by creating the 13th Amendment and saying the only person subject to doing involuntary servitude is if you committed a crime, you know. So, like, that created where they started, once they established that, they started doing convict leasing programs and all this other stuff to maintain like that. But, like, it's since the 1980s, you know what I mean, it had exacerbated, you know, I think that's the word.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean, like, and it becomes from, like you said, what Michelle Alexander was saying with this book, like, you know what I mean, tough on crime legislation, but especially like the war on drugs and so much other stuff, where more people were going to jail for drugs, you know what I mean? And, like, you probably know it better than me, is that, like, you know, like, the people who went to prison, that was in the prison in the 80s, you know, they watched the prison system go from 13 prisons to like them opening 22 more. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, the older people, like, you know, they opened up these prisons.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They were the ones that opened up all these different prisons. So like now, you know what I mean, they're making money off of our bodies and stuff. So like it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's been a shift. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But like, you know, our whole thing is to like, you know, to fight that shift. I believe, you know what I mean, is that like we could never really have a full conversation about rehabilitation as long as we have involuntary servitude on the Constitution, because then they say, like, you know, they keep slavery alive. See, like, you know what I mean? Prison should be about, if it is, it should be about redemption and like they said, corrections. Like so to correct somebody is to make somebody right. You know what I mean? And like what they're doing is they're not making us right, they're making us wrong by coming home to all these collateral consequences. You know what I mean? That's putting us, that's warehousing us in these prisons and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? It's like putting us on probation, keeping us like still like just like you said, we drawing some of the parallels. They've been in control of of our movements.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like the same thing. Like when you was on this plantation, you know, you couldn't go off the plantation. Now they just set it up for you to be on probation, and now you can't leave that community. They ain't gonna let you live in a nice community, so they're forcing you to live where they want you to live. Like, you know, and that's the same thing that happened here. Like the slave quarters was where the black people lived. Mm-hmm. It was like not the rich, nice part where other people live. It was the ghetto. Mm-hmm. And like that's where they forced us to live, and that's what they're doing with these housing policies. Mm-hmm. That's what they do when they put you on probation. That's what they do. All these different things that's systematic. Like, you know what I mean? It's all to keep this system alive. So like, you know, the first step to getting rid of it is to take this involuntary servitude off of the Constitution, right, and replace it with redemption and healing, and like, you know what I mean, and creating a whole person, you know, so that like, you know what I mean, that we could reach our full potential, you know what I mean, and not having to be stuck in the same thing. So like that's one of the big things that's pushing with All of Us or None, and is us pushing ACA 3, which will take the involuntary servitude off the thing. And then another thing and
that's going to be on the ballot, right?
Yes, well, it has to go through both houses to get put on the ballot.
Okay, so will that get on the ballot this year, or what do you think?
I hope so. You know what I mean? Like always, you know, and that, and then like
Oh, and let me just another comment. Tony Cooper said the system is designed by them to keep us divided and suppressed. I agree.
Absolutely, that's why. Like, because that was the same term when they said the new Jim Crow, right? I thought the new Jim Crow was prison politics, because that's where you jump into this whole world of segregation, and we put ourselves in it, like where our phones, black phones, white phones, phones, and all this stuff. So like, yes, like that keeps us automatically divided, and so many people come home with the same different level. So like, you know what I mean, it's institutionalized, like by being physical body, but then you institutionalize your own brain, and you know what I mean, into these divisions. So yes, sir, man, you're absolutely right. You know, the system is designed to keep us behind. You know what I mean? The system is designed to keep us behind, you know, so like, yes,
I'm sorry, and you also the Time Done, you work with Time Done, the manager of membership and organizing. Oh, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the other thing that we're pushing on big this year is sunsets. And that's the Time Done thing. It's like even people with felonies and everything, like we're trying to push it after you be crime free for so long after getting out that your record could get automatically clear. You know, in like it's nothing that you have to do, nothing. Like, you know what I mean? All you have to do is be crime free and your record will be cleared if you crime free for so long, you know, and like
that means felonies and misdemeanors or
yes, felonies and misdemeanors. We're trying to sunset criminal conviction, just like credit. Like if you have bad credit, you mess up, you know, after so long, you get your credit restored. You know, we're trying to give people an opportunity to come anew. You know what I mean? Like get you a new point. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
You know, so like that's a big thing that we're pushing, and like these policies ain't going to change themselves. You know what I mean?
That's right.
They're going to change. Like, and the sick thing is, like Riverside County, right? Like we're finna. They got the board of supervisors got it on the ballot. I mean, got it on the agenda for us to see if we're going to pass the involuntary servitude. And the opposition came in and gave 120 comments on why they think we should leave involuntary servitude on the Constitution. You know what I mean? So like these different policies that we're pushing and we're uplifting is about they're not going to pass themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like we're going to need all of us. You know what I mean? But like we're in a pretty interesting time because last ballot we just gave people on parole an opportunity to vote. You know what I mean? We rejected the Cooper Initiative. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that was good.
Like,
yeah.
It's in Florida they just gave voting rights to people with past convictions.
Mm-hmm.
All throughout the state, through the legislative, we passed AB 1076, which would automatic the expungement process for people that qualify for expunges. But it was just a big play for us to start the conversation about automatics, in which we're trying to push for sunsets. Like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of work that's been going on in this world, you know what I mean, to rid it, you know what I mean? And that's what we have to do, continue to build power within ourselves, you know what I mean? And like, and like, cause the PICO principle is like, what is power? It's either organized people or organized money, you know? So the next part about that is like what Time Gun is doing, we're also giving financial wellness class, you know what I mean? So like to help people, like, you know what I mean, understand how to manage their money, because like we're trying to push past this conversation of just felon-friendly jobs, and what about felon-friendly careers? Mm-hmm. Like what about people, like putting people on a pipeline for felon-friendly careers where we could have careers, one, but also like healthcare, 401ks, days off, access to counseling and everything else that we need to, and financial wellness classes, so that we can figure out a way to get bounced back. Because like for Time Gun, for me, you know what I mean, one of the major questions that I concern myself with is how do we go from $200 gate money to making at least 5 racks a month so that we can take care of ourselves. You know what I mean? And like, you know, in like these little felon-friendly jobs that they're giving us in warehouses and stuff like that is not going to cut it. You know what I mean? We're going to need like careers, and we need to be putting ourselves in a pipeline towards success. So like, you know what I mean? It's starting to have this conversation, like they said, like organized. So what is power? Organized people and organized money. So like, why do we have to be exempt from the organized money conversation? You know what I mean? Like we can start to build ourselves up on many different levels so that we can reach the next level of success. And like, we do not have to worry about these collateral consequences of criminal convictions, because we got what it takes and we got the skills to pay the bills. You know what I mean? And that's what we're building up here, is like, you know what I mean? We're going to try to build people up with like political power, to rid ourselves of some of these barriers, to put ourselves in a pipeline toward careers and financial wellness. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're trying to build out over here with Time Gun. You know, is like, yes, we're going to change policies, but we're also going to figure out ways that we can try to uplift our people. And like, the further that each one of us go up, you know, the further that we all go up together as people living with past convictions and advocating for the things that we need, you know.
That's right. So, and I have something I want to say about that, but first I want to read a comment from Tina Luckett. Mm-hmm. She said, then the housing system is designed to keep families apart, because you can't come home to your lady and kids without her losing the housing, knowing without it the whole family fails. And I've seen that myself when people get out, oh, he got a felony, he can't be here, or whatever it is, and they create those problems. Even when you're married or whatever, they don't care.
Everything, man, it's horrible, right? Because like she said, like, okay, it's COVID and everything going on, people sick, right? If my mom, like the crime-free multi-housing projects, like you're saying, like the destroys people, this policy that keeps us.
Or affordable housing. You know, they always talk about this affordable housing, but like they put those laws in there.
Right. So like it's just like I was saying, the thing goes, like, you see this sign, they ain't got us right. Blacks only or whites only no more.
Right.
You see this one sign, and when you see it, it says it. Right? But the thing about it is, like, it ain't even, I can't rent there. I can't be on the premises.
Thank you.
Period.
Exactly.
You know, so like if I go over there, my mom gets sick or something, and I go into these apartments to help her, you know, and like I get pulled over, either two things is going to happen. Either I tell on my mom and she at risk to get evicted, or I say, I don't know why I'm over here. I'm just over here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I'm at risk at trespassing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like So like this is like you said, it destroyed everybody in close proximity to me. Now I can't help my mom. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the same thing that you said. Like if you get out and your wife, you know what I mean, live in these apartments, then you probably can't even live in there. Now your wife's at risk of being evicted, like you said. And it's like the same thing. Like you trying to get your family together. You know what I mean? And you want to adopt your kid back, and like now you can't get the kid because
exactly.
You got eviction. You know what I mean?
I just went through that too, you know, going through the process of adopting my grandbaby, right?
Man,
and, you know, they raked me over the coals, man.
Man, for real.
And that was like 36 years, you know, since 84. I haven't been in trouble since 84 when I got in church. And they went all the way back there, and that they looked at arrest and everything, and you have to explain everything, and they give you a real hard time about it, man. I listening to you, Terrence, especially talking about involuntary servitude and so on. We still today are trying to abolish slavery. You know what I mean? We still trying to abolish slavery. I mean, you know, like I know Michelle Alexander with her book, you know, talk about slavery of another kind, and you know, there's all type of information out there, but it's so real, you know, that we are dealing with a different kind of slavery now that's really oppressing us and keeping us as a second-class citizen, and that's the objective, right? And of course, it's economic oppression and so on. Anything else you want to say? Any closing words?
You know, like I don't know. We talked about this earlier before in the Bible and all this other stuff. I don't know why this is my closing words, but still, like this is just what I want to say.
Go ahead.
Is that like, you know, they like the Pharaoh came after the firstborn son, you know, and like, you know, and they went after him. They wanted to kill all the firstborn sons and this and this and this and that, because they knew that one day it was going to be a Messiah that was going to be raised up out of the people, you know. And we just watched that movie about Fred Hampton and with Judas and the Messiah. Like, these people are still worried about the Messiah coming up out of us.
Mm-hmm.
You
Absolutely.
know, and you know what I mean. So like,
amen.
You know what I mean? Like, so like that means what their fear is that the answer is in us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like now it's like it's time for us to stand up, you know, and like that's what I feel, you know, in my whole heart. You know, I feel like, you know, with the question you asked earlier before about God and all that stuff, man, I believe that, you know, I'm connected to God.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
And like, you know,
thank you, Lord.
And he gonna give me the strength, you know what I mean, to do what I have to do, his will, you know, and I will.
Right.
And I will, you know. So like, you know, I just want to say, like, anybody just keep the faith, you know, like, you know, a lot of times, you know, life is hard, you know. This is my motto, you know, it's life is hard. You know, sometimes you feel all alone and like you're in a hole, you know, and while you're in this hole, you know, it's like people kick dirt on you, you know, and when it rains, it pours. And when the sun comes, it's scorching, you know. But like when you're in that pressure can crack you know. But when you're a mustard seed, that's what it takes to grow.
That's right. That's right.
You know, you need to be in a hole. You need them to kick dirt on you. You need water. You need the sun, and that pressure cracks the shell. Right. And coming up from that comes a mustard seed, a tree that many birds can eat from for years to come. You know, so like, you know, sometimes the hardship and all that other stuff is just preparing you. That's how I was telling you before.
Right.
All the stuff that happened with me and my arm and all this other stuff, you know, it prepared me for something that I'm doing today. Amen. And like, you know, sometimes you wonder, like, why are you going through some of these hardships? But like, you know, it's to follow the will and do what you have to do. You know, I can't say everybody's going to be that way, but for a lot of us, it is that way. You know, so like, you know, keep the faith, man. Like, you know, in the end, we win. Know that. You know, have the audacity to know that you might come from the smallest seed out of all seeds, but you have the audacity to become a big tree. You know, you have the audacity to be a California redwood tree that shelters so much. You know, so much stuff lives off of you. and a forest fire couldn't even burn you down. You know what I mean? So like, you know, it's just keeping the faith. You know what I mean? Feel like, you know, you're here for a purpose. I think I felt the lowest when I felt like life had no meaning. I felt the lowest when I felt like my life, I was in the mountain to nothing. And because I felt low, it was easier for me to hurt the next person. Right. So now that, like, you know, I have some life, my life has meaning and all this other stuff, I feel like I can make a difference in this world, and I'm not just living in it. That's it. So, you know, keep the faith, keep your head up. You know, like Tupac said, you gotta keep your head up.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah. And so we're gonna go ahead and close out. Bettina Luckett, thank you. She said it's a must that we stand. And Tony Cooper said, yes, sir. So we thank you all for coming on, and we'll be coming shortly to you with another Slow Motion with Bishop Bowser, or Shaphat Outreach podcast. But this one concludes. We thank you, Terence Stewart, for coming on and sharing your story with us, and sharing your work that you're doing and everything. And I know we'll always be in contact. Really appreciate the great work that you're doing, and we're gonna do it together. We're gonna make a big difference, and we're gonna watch out for that ACA, I believe it is.
Yeah, ACA 3.
ACA 3. We're gonna watch out for that.
Sunset SB 731. You know what I mean? And we're going after enhancements too.
There you go.
AB 81 and 82. You know what I mean? We're going after enhancement stuff as well. So like, this year is going to be phenomenal. I think they're going after 3 strikes as well this year. So it's going to be a lot of stuff for criminal justice.
So we're going to have to bring you back though, man, and talk about that. If we get some of this stuff on the ballot, or we get some of these laws passed.
I'm only a phone call away, man. You know what I mean?
I know. That's it.
Man, I'll be pulling up in San Diego. You know.
There you go. I know you will.
Southeast San Diego, Imperial Street. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's the main street. Run through all of it. All right, everyone. So we're gonna go ahead and sign out. We thank God for you, and we'll see you on the next time. See you, Willard. Said thanks for your time and energy, my brothers. Keep it 100, and we sure will. And God bless everybody, and thank you. Signing out.